Welcome back to the Platinum Knock repair. Today we are doing the cleaning and reassembly. To start off, I separate the pieces with the nib unit that's going to be put in the ultrasonic cleaner. The spring I'm not going to do anything to, and the knock piece will get hand cleaned. So there's the nib unit. I'm starting just by flushing it because the cleaning of this is for the inside, so for writing, and also the outside so that the knock functionality is improved. I was thinking about removing the feed, which I'm pretty sure you can do with this tool, but in the end I decided against it because I actually haven't taken apart a vanishing point nib unit before, so I don't really want to do it on this one. Giving the outside a bit of a hand scrub to start before it goes into the ultrasonic cleaner. Particularly around the ring on the nib unit is where I want to be clean, because I think that probably affects the knocking mechanism the most. Into the ultrasonic cleaner with just water and a few drops of dish soap. While the nib unit's here, I tried to get a close-up of the nib itself, though I probably should have just taken some photos because the focus is not great on video. And this piece, which I was saying was brass yesterday, I used ChatGPT and asked what material it thinks it is. They said it was a copper alloy of some sort, which I guess it probably is, though plenty of times ChatGPT is wrong, so I'm not certain still. And making sure it dries well. Of course I'll air dry after this as well. For me, cleaning the body is actually the scariest part. Here I'm just trying to find a brush that is the right fit, and this one seems good. I think it is also the right size, such that it doesn't reach as far as the trapdoor, which is something to be careful about. And in hindsight, I probably wouldn't dip the whole thing in water, just because of the clip. The clip doesn't seem to have a spring in it, so it would just be some part on another part. And I'm also worried about how waterproof it is. Bit of brushing here, and you can see how much dirt comes out. I'm not sure what it is specifically. It might be dried ink, might be. I think it must be dried ink, but there's quite a decent amount of it. But it brushes out quite easy. Then I'm going to move on to brushing more towards the trapdoor, but not quite reaching it. So I've sort of set my max length where my thumbs are and just brushing around there. Certainly want to make sure this is all 100% dry before putting it back together. I left it outside for about an hour. I made sure all the large droplets are out, left it outside for about an hour. I used a Q-tip on the inside to dry it a little bit, but I'm not sure I would suggest that because you don't really want to leave some fibers inside. But I think by the end of it, an hour outside and a few more hours inside, it was all dry. Now I'm looking at putting it back together. Sorry about the lighting change. The tool I'm using doesn't actually reach over the ring, so I'm just trying to find the position that I think is best. This actually took me a few attempts finding the right position, that sort of thing. But in this instance, I got it through. I'm assuming that clicking was the knock mechanism, hopefully, and then screwing it back in. Now I thought I was going for too long and I thought I didn't screw it in properly, but I double checked that afterwards. And that was my first attempt back at the click. Here I am doing the double check. And so I position the tool in the correct spot, making sure I know that it's actually in there.
Okay.
Then I loosened it a bit and tightened it a bit. I'm not sure I have a good comparison. I think I might have clicked it once in the previous video, but it certainly feels way better and sounds a lot better, and there's no issue with retracting. So I would say that this is a success. Here I'm putting in a cartridge, which feels really scary because the nib unit is inside. There's a spring, you have to push on the spring, but I got the cartridge in. And I think I only waited a couple of minutes before I started writing. So the ink is a little pale, but the nib is writing. The nib feels good. I'm not great at describing how things feel when they write. The writing surface of the nib is such that the pen wants to be rolled clockwise a little bit. Which happens on a number of vintage pens that I've looked at, where there's a certain direction the nib wants to be written on. But the flow is great. The width is either a fine or an extra fine. I have no complaints about the nib here. The way the clicking works, it seems, is, if you press the back about 80-90% through, the nib will lock in. But if you then continue pushing further than 90%, the nib will extend out even further and then retract. But I think that makes sense given how the mechanism actually works, how it locks in, and how you have to press further on the back to unlock it. So if you press the whole way in one click, it will be unlocked, and return back to being retracted. some overall comments on this repair and maintenance. It was pretty fun making a tool, trying to figure out how the pen worked, and it was definitely really nice to have the second pen in worse condition so that I could take that one apart first, you know, sort of like a trial run. I guess I was just lucky in the, you know, in the purchase that it came as a package of 2. I hope this video can help someone. There are no resources on repairing this pen, but not many people have it, so I don't know how handy this will be, but I'm sure someone will learn something out of it, I guess. And then, so yeah, thanks for watching. You can stop watching here if you want, or I will continue a little bit onto some future work for this pen or the next one. So the things left that could possibly be done with this pen is polishing the plastic body. There are some areas of the body that are a bit scuffed, but that's not too much of a priority. You know, if I want to do that, I can just do that one day. And the next thoughts are for the other pen that I have that is missing a clip, missing the internal ring, and missing the trapdoor mechanism. At some point I'll probably try work on that. You know, the only thing I can really work on is getting a replacement ring, and that won't be finding a donor pen, it will be finding a replacement myself. I have some calipers on the way, so I can take some measurements and see what I can do. So there may be a future video looking into that and working on that other pen. I know some people take the clips off their vanishing points, so I don't think that, obviously, you know, we'd love to have the clip, but if it's not there, it's not there, right? And some people actually prefer without it. The trapdoor, I was thinking about buying a like Jinhao 10 or Jinhao 20, the Chinese vanishing point knockoff. But I don't think that trapdoor will be able to be transplanted in, because, you know, there are some documents about the knock with the pattern they put through, and the trapdoor looks sort of nothing like what's on a vanishing point, as far as I know. Now, how much of an issue is that? I don't know. I know after cleaning this that the trapdoor is not really watertight, and if it's not watertight, it's not airtight, so I'm sure it does a little bit, but maybe the pen will function without a trapdoor. Anyway, if I get to working on finding a replacement ring, I'll be making another video on that. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.